So before I go off and make another stupid video, I wanted to do something that was a little more coherent and serious. I wanted to talk a bit about failure and your failure rate or your win-losses as an invader. It is not hard to die as an invader. It's not hard to die to 3 people, 4 people, 2 people, 1 good person that has an advantage over you, whether that just be the Estus or the 30% extra HP, whatever. You're at the disadvantage as an invader. And one thing that I see, even people that comment on my videos, which I kind of operate under the assumption that a lot of these guys that are leaving comments, guys, gals, whatever, that are leaving comments are sort of die-hard invader types. And for a while, I've sort of shied away from the idea of doing lesson-based commentary in exchange for kind of sillier stuff, or maybe like way in-depth sort of tactics and stuff. And this, I wanted to be a more general video. You saw at the beginning of the video, ran into a party and they just fucking steamrolled me. And there wasn't a whole lot I could have done. I could have made split-second decisions and maybe survived a little longer. But for the most part, when you run up against Chaos Bed Vestiges, a curved sword, and whatever the hell the host was doing, that's enough a lot of the times. In the invasion you just saw, you might have noticed like some quick dodges, some quick ring swaps, that sort of thing. And that comes with time, and failure brings you that time. It's fine to lose. In fact, I'd go so far as to say it's important to lose. If you want to get good at invasions, the first step is sucking ass at them. And there's no way around that. You're gonna be garbage tier when you start doing invasions. And I don't care if you're the greatest fucking duelist in the world, it's still a different mindset entirely. Over on the Soul Level 90 Discord, which I link in all the videos, the guy that runs that Discord, Raph, he was talking about a term in his psychology class called hindsight bias, where it's easy to look back and say, I did that because of that. And it's a sort of fallacy. But what you just saw with the Black Knight sword parry, then the Ringed Knight spear parry, I did those things not out of any sort of, oh, I know this is going to happen, I know this is going to happen. I did those things because I've done them enough that I'm able to basically keep cool under a situation where shit just goes absolutely crazy. I still lose invasions regularly. Come to a stream. My win rate is probably a little better when I'm not streaming. Like, none of these invasions are from a stream. I just recorded these tonight. I just did all these tonight. So, I'm focused. My mind's in a better place. It's easier to invade. But my point is, I still lose regularly. Sometimes in bullshit situations, sometimes in nail biters, and sometimes in, invasions that make you want to pull your hair out. But I still lose. But that hindsight bias, a lot of YouTube content creators will say, I did this for this, I did that for this, I did that. And it's easy to put that commentary over your video after the fact. But let's be honest. The reason people who have really stressful jobs, and a lot of times, like, I used to work for a sheriff's office, and so my experience is limited to this, but when you do exercises for firearms, when you're learning how to use a handgun, your exercises are these strenuous fucking people yelling at you, you're running around, it's craziness, and they make you like reload your weapon when you wouldn't need to reload your weapon. They make you clear gun jams that aren't there. They make you do all this crazy shit. And the reason they make you do all that is so that in the situation, were it to actually happen, you have that muscle memory. You have that ingrained in you. What they're teaching you are good habits. Because in the moment when shit hits the fan, you're not going to remember class. You're going to fall back on good habits. That's their idea. You're going to fall back on habits one way or the other. They want to make those good habits. And it's the same thing with invasions. You just want to fall back on good habits. But the only way to develop good habits is to practice them over and over and over again in really shitty, crazy situations where sometimes you just can't win. Which is fine. It's fine to not be able to win an invasion. Especially for you guys out there who don't like... I know people shit on me because I like to play with a sword and shield, but I also like to win. So, you know, I mean, regardless, sword and shield, I don't... Like, that's how I'm going to play the game regardless. If I'm doing duels, if I'm doing invasions, it doesn't matter. I'm playing with a sword and a shield. That's fun to me, but part of that fun is probably the fact that it's easier to win if I'm using that stuff. But as you've seen, I've used katanas, great swords, whatever the situation calls for within my aesthetic. I have a certain aesthetic that I like to, you know what I mean? You could use a spear. I'm going to use a katana. You know, I'm going to use a straight sword and shield. You could use a katana and a shield, or a curved sword and shield, whatever. But the point is, you guys that go out there with these like suboptimal builds, and you're trying to win invasions and you fail, don't ever let that get you down, that you're not going out here with fucking 40 vigor, ring of favor, and, you know, like the prisoner's chain or whatever, that you're not min-maxing as hard as absolutely possible. You guys can't expect to win every invasions, which is, you know, part of the reason that the wins you do get are all the more sweet, I would think. I did a few suboptimal invasions when I did the Lord of Invasion series. If you're interested, or if you haven't seen it yet, you can go back and watch that. I was invading with like the wooden hammer and the 4-pronged plow before it was the best spear, back when it was just like a kind of garbage joke weapon, and stuff like that. And I tried to fit in as much good stuff as I could, good items, good weapons and stuff like that, but there was quite a bit of time where I just couldn't do that because I was playing as a undead settlement worker, so I had to use the great machete or something, you know. But my point is, don't be afraid to lose invasions, don't be afraid to fail at invasions. Even when you quote-unquote get good at invasions, still don't be afraid to lose or to fail, because that's part of, like I said, part of invasions is you just can't win all of them. But you can develop good habits so that you're falling back on good habits. And then, in a situation where maybe you get a second chance, you can do things right. Because, at the end of the day, that's essentially what Dark Souls is about. Dying, resurrecting, coming back, always having a second chance. There is no game over screen, and it's the same thing for invasions. The only time we lose the game is when we stop playing and our character goes hollow. So, I understand it's a tall order to try and improve at something that seems so fucking insurmountable sometimes. But you have to remember, it's easier to remember your losses than it is your wins. So, celebrate your wins. Don't be afraid to celebrate your wins, you know what I mean? Like, making these YouTube videos, and I know people post, a lot of people do web-ims of their victories and stuff like that. And doing that it will help. It really will. I mean, if you're on PlayStation 4 like me, it's literally just a click of a button or two, and your wins are recorded forever, and your losses are forever lost into the ether. They'll sting and they'll burn, obviously. It's hard to get over those losses, but it can be done, and you can, take your second chance and can continuously try and parry an ultra great sword that's laggy, It's not gonna happen. It's just not gonna fucking happen, bro. But it's not gonna stop me from trying. I try again. Don't you worry. I try to parry that ultra great sword, that laggy ultra great sword. Even though the backstab is clearly the better option here. Jesus, what is wrong with me? Anyway, I hope this video's helped. This is one of those things that I wish I could hand out to people, like a fucking, you know what I mean? Like, if you could watch one Saint Riot video, I would want it to be this one. Because this is something that I've never really, I don't think, gone over. And it's a pretty important lesson. I guess it's easy to take it for granted that you're going to lose invasions, because you are. And it's easy, you know what I mean? It's easy to forget to talk about that. It's easy to forget about the losses when you've got a fucking YouTube channel that's dedicated to showing the victories. But that's Souls content creation for you in a nutshell. But live, fight, die. Good habits. Practice good habits. Keep trying. It's not insurmountable. I promise you. Thank you guys for watching. And, yeah, I'll see y'all next time. Later, y'all.